Welcome to all our participants. Thank you so much for joining in today. I see Aditi, Ayushi, Bhaumek, Chetan, Deepa, Hina, Hiral, Jagdish, Meg, Mohit, Pooja, Sandeep, Sandra, Bhavna, Jessica, Nikki. Thank you so much for joining in. So, well, it's time to begin with another exciting session where we have such lovely people present out here. It's a lovely Monday afternoon. So here we go. You may have noticed people around you who manage to get everything on their plate done, and then some with time to spare. How can they accomplish so much in such little time? The answer lies in time management. Time management is the way we organize and distribute our time between activities with the result of maximizing productivity and achieving goals. Good time management leads to lower level of stress and higher level of job performance and life satisfaction. High achievers are not born productive. Rather, they have learned and practiced the skills needed to get more done in less time. Productivity is not a talent. It is a learned skill that every individual will need to develop. Let's hear it from our expert today, who will be sharing with us her learnings and versions on effective time management. HR Association of India welcomes you all to the 2021 Dialogue Masterclass series on the topic Time Management, the Big Picture. To know more about HRAI and its event, I would request all the participants to visit the link and details posted in the chat window. Request all the participants to kindly follow the webinar guidelines mentioned in the chat window. It would be great to have all the participants' feedback. We will be running a poll before the Q&A session. Request all the participants to kindly give your feedback on the session. I now take the privilege to introduce our master for today, Ms. Yesha Vatsa, Director, Star Consulting Global. Yesha specializes in soft skills and behavioral training with 11 years of extensive training experience and over 13 years of total work experience. She has worked on various learnings and development interventions and projects with various esteemed organizations and has received outstanding results. She has designed, developed, and delivered a series of workshops and coaching sessions successfully to various organizations, including Deutsche Bank, Axis Bank, HDFC Bank, Accenture, Bharti Airtel, BMW, ITC, Volvo, JCB, Sienna Global, Maruti Udyog Limited, Monster India Limited, Hero Honda, PepsiCo, Syngene, MG Motors, and many more. She is passionate of delivering highly effective and memorable sessions with a very positive outlook. She has helped many to lay the foundations for a new path. Sessions taken by Yesha are thoroughly structured and follow a practical approach with a lot of stimulation-based sessions, real life-based scenarios and activities. You can follow her on LinkedIn. The link for the same has been shared in the chat window. Now, without taking much time, I hand over the platform to Yesha. Over to you, Yesha.
Peterson, thank you so much. And it is lovely to be here. I am absolutely thrilled to be part of this event. And I welcome each and every one of you to this event where we are going to talk about the big picture of time management. Well, to begin with, I have a couple of requests here for all the participants here, all the people who are our audience here, all the people who are going to learn along with us. My request is, please switch on your cameras. This is a live session. This is a video on session. It'll be a great support and a great interaction for all of us to keep our cameras on while keeping ourselves on mute, because I will be taking you through some activities, and those activities require you to be live visible to all of us. So like Peterson is looking so handsome right there. I'm looking absolutely gorgeous here. I would love to see all your beautiful faces right there. So my request is, in the next 5 minutes, please arrange for your cameras to be on so that we can see each other, have a look at each other, and then we move forward. And I would also like to request you to be very, very prompt in responses on the chat boxes when we make some conversations, and I would like to know from you. Now, we all know that this series is a dialogue series, so it's a two-way thing. So let's not make it a monologue. We would have loved to that in Shakespeare's play, but here today, this is going to be a fantastic dialogue between you and me. If you are ready, let me see your chat box responses, or you can just switch on your camera and give me a thumbs up. Thank you, Jessica. It was lovely to see just a glimpse of you. And I would love to see your yes, a Y for yes in the chat box right there, champions, if you're ready to move forward. Thank you, Mickey. Very well done. Thank you so much. Really appreciate. Looking forward to having some cameras on and a lot of thumbs up and yeses in the chat box. Champions, it is important that all of us are together in this learning journey, you with me and me with you. Thank you so much, Mickey, for switching on the camera. You are looking beautiful. And champions, please do not think, I don't know what kind of dress I'm wearing. I don't know how I'm looking. We love you the way you are. Please come online. We would love to see you. All right, Peterson, thank you. Pooja, thank you very much. Yugandhar, thank you so much. Mohit, thank you so much for your yeses. Very well done, champions. All right, so while we are attempting, and I'm sure, and I believe a lot of us are attempting to make our cameras on, and please live up to this promise that I have from you. Please switch on your cameras. It is going to be great fun if you switch on the cameras and connect well. Now, in the meantime, let's move forward. And I would like to bring to you some key points that I have today gathered for all of you in this short session, where we are going to definitely talk about what is the big picture of the time management. Now, requesting you all to give me a Y for yes if you're able to see my slide right there, which says time management, the big picture. If it's visible, or you can give me a thumbs up. Wonderful. Thank you, Peterson. Let me also open my chat window to see who all are responding to me. Oh, wow. Thank you, Vanita. Thank you, Mickey. Bhavna, thank you very much. Pooja, thank you. All right, wonderful. So it's lovely to see all these responses. Very well. All right. So now today we are going to talk about the big picture of time management. Let's begin by the basics of time management, which we all have gone through at some places or the other. We have probably conducted trainings on that, or we have been part of such conversations where we've spoken about what is time management and how crucial it is. In today's session, I'm going to talk about an aspect that we talk very rarely about. So let's move forward and understand what time management is. Well, time management is all about going ahead with a plan in life and putting that plan into implementation and achieving our life goals. And that is the core importance of managing time. Also, more than often, we make a to-do list, we make a plan, we move forward in life every day. It's an everyday thing that we prepare a list of things that we have to achieve. But at the end of it, we try to find out what has been achieved, what all did we do, and what did we not do. So we'll not get into the realization part of it, because we all know that that is the fact of life, that there are a lot of things that we know we can do. There are a lot of things that we know we can be. But many of those things we are unable to realize in real life because of one common major factor, lack of time. We are so overwhelmed and occupied, so much to do in such little time, that more or less those things actually take a backseat, and whatever is the need of the hour takes the priority, and we go forward with that. Now that clashes with our life goals. And a life without a goal or accomplishment of goal is something which is going in rounds and rounds, and we don't really achieve success with that. So in today's session, we are going to talk about what do you think is the impact if the time is not managed effectively. So let's understand what happens when we do not manage time really well. All right. I would like to know from each one of you, what do you think is the impact of ineffective time management in our professional life? Let's have some ideas in our professional life. How does ineffective time management impact us? I would like to see your responses in the chat box, champions. Wonderful. You lose your peace. Yes, Nandan, very right. I would need some more ideas here. Come on, champions, you can tell me. Yes, I know you all have amazing ideas in you. It's just about expressing it. All right, yes, of course, delay in deliveries. And delay in deliveries is directly proportional to commitments. And when the commitments become doubtful, then the trust becomes shaky. Missing deadlines, absolutely, Mohit. Thank you so much, Shikha, for sharing that. Wonderful. So these are important impacts of not following a time management, not having an effective time management plan. You won't be able to perform efficiently. Absolutely. You'll always be doing so many things, but nothing would actually work out. All right. Thank you so much, Mickey. Thank you, Mohit. All right. I'm looking forward to more responses. We are 40 of us. Okay. If I leave aside Peterson and me, we are 38 and now 39. So I would expect at least 39 responses right there. Absolutely, Nandan, you're right. Productivity is lost, absolutely. And let me also ask you, as performers, as professionals, when we are not able to live up to or to perform up to what we really know we are competent of, how does that make us feel? On an everyday basis, if that happens, how does that make us feel? Let me know your responses on the chat box right here, champions. How does that make us feel? Loss on, yes, we lose on confidence. Yes, Mohit. We start having self-doubt. Am I capable or not? Am I really efficient or not? Am I competent or not? Absolutely right, Mohit. Thank you for your contributions. All right. Any more ideas? How do we feel? Bring boring life without any vision. Absolutely. It's like a monotonous life, mundane life, morning to evening. The life takes us through the entire day. There's nothing much that we do and we get demotivated. That is absolutely right. Now, I would use a little bit of Hindi here, but I will also translate because there are certain parts where I would like to highlight as to what this really means. All right. There's an old sher, and it's very popular also. Subah hoti hai, sham hoti hai, zindagi yun hi tamam hoti hai. It means there's morning and there's evening, and in the middle of all of this, the life is lost. And that is what happens on an everyday basis. And and of course, Mickey, yes, you're absolutely right. And that's a very important term that you have used here. You become stagnant at some stage. And that is where the deterioration happens. That is where the growth stops. And none of us are willing to have our growth stop. We always are willing to have some enhanced exponential growth in our life because we all are champions. Thank you, Bhavna. Thank you, Vanita. Thank you very much. Thank you, Nandan, and thank you, Mickey, and all my friends who have posted their responses here. So, of course, we know that ineffective time management, of course, impacts our professional life. How about our personal life? How does ineffective time management impact our personal life or social life? Let's have some responses in the chat screen right there. You will be ignored. Okay. Thank you, Nandan, for sharing this. Spoiled relationships, absolutely. Yes, because no time. You're always busy. The work is taking so long. Early mornings, late nights. Yes, relationships have they take a severe blow here where the time is not managed well. Thank you so much, Shikha. No balance. And balance is so very important in everything that we do. Everything. Balance is the key to move forward in a sustainable way. And we miss on so many things. And when I say that, I am wishing that all of you, please remind yourself what all we have missed in all these years because we have not been able to manage time really well. All right. And that time never comes back. Shikha, thank you so much. I'm getting such beautiful responses from you and so many responses. Thank you. You are a champion. I would like to have more responses from other champions as well. Come on. Ayushi, Chetan, Sandra, Deepak, Bhavna, Sandeep, Fazal. I would like to have your responses as well. All right. Miss our dreams to follow. Yes, Vanita, we are so busy. We are so busy that there is no scope of dreams to be achieved. Dreams remain dream. And there's a difference between dreams and goal. Dream with a deadline is a goal. We can't put a deadline because we are dead in work. So there is no scope of deadline there. So the dreams remain dreams. You're always thinking, how I wish this should have happened. How I wish this was my life. But many of those things become unachievable or become too much to handle in that given time frame. All right. Thank you so much, Vanita. And Vicky says, indiscipline trait developed inside us. Yes. So, and let me also ask you, when as professionals and as adults, when we are performing and behaving in a particular way, it's the next gen also that we are inspiring and impacting in some or the other way. How many of us agree on that? Give me a thumbs up or write Y in the chat box for yes. If you think our behavior today is impacting the next gen, thank you, Shikha. Mohit, thank you very much. Peterson, thank you. Vanita, thank you so much. Bhavna, absolutely. Thank you so much, Poonam. Great. Thank you, Neha. Thank you so much. So somewhere the need to really look back and act on things that make us much more disciplined, much more in charge, much more in control of our own time would be something that we would all want to have in our life. If that is a yes, now write Y in the chat box for this yes. Okay, I'm looking forward to your responses here. Just write Y for yes if you think there is we definitely are eager to know more about it. Great, Shikha. Thank you so much for your Y. Yes, Peterson, Vanita, thank you very much. All right, I would also like to have Bhaumik, Sandra, Chetan, Sandeep, Aditi, Chirag. A lot of our friends are here. Zarana, Yugandhar, Srushti. Come on, champions. I would like to see your responses here as well. Thank you, Chintan. Thank you, Chintan. Lovely to see your response. All right. Okay, Nandan says, can you repeat it? Surely. So what I went was, Nandan, with all these facts in mind and all these facts in consideration, how many of us think that now is the time when we must look forward, when we must look in depth to understand how we can effectively manage time? Because it is not just impacting us, but it is impacting the next gen. The indiscipline that we might, portray in our everyday behavior and the stress that is induced because of that indiscipline affects our next gen. So it's time now that we take steps to correct that. So that was what I meant, here. Great. All right. So I got a lot of yeses here. Thank you, Manish, Chintan, Mohit, Yugandhar. Very well. Now, let me bring your attention to something really critical here, champions. We talked about how does ineffective time management has an impact on our professional life and our personal life. But how many of us can realize and share with us what do they feel about the ineffective time management or this lack of time or this unprioritization happening on an everyday basis? How does this impact our health? Can anybody would like to mention that over the chat box? How do you think it impacts our health? I am looking forward to your responses here. Anxiety issues, yes, Poonam. Mohit Agrawal says stress, yes. Lack of sleep, yes. Absolutely. I'm looking forward to more responses here. Lifestyle disorder, yes. And there is a plethora of lifestyle disorders that we listen about, we talk about. Every other person surrounding us is talking about it. And it's very disturbing. Overthinking is a result. Thank you, Sandra, for switching on your camera. Loss of mental health. The mental health is also impacted in great impact. Thank you, Mickey, for your response. Chintan, Mohit, Poonam, thank you so much. Thanks, everyone, for your responses. All right, I would like to bring your attention to something called the circadian rhythm. I would also like to understand how many of us know about it. And there is a generic term for that as well, which we have been hearing maybe since our childhood. And now we just know the term, but the actual importance of that and the actual consideration of the circadian rhythm is something which is missing from the lives of most of us. Now, circadian rhythm, let me bring an understanding of circadian rhythm and what it means for our life. Well, circadian rhythm is a Latin word. Circadian is a Latin word for 1 day. So circadian means it's a cycle. It's a cycle which goes on inside our brain, and all the living beings, it's not just humans, but all the living beings have a circadian cycle of their own. Humans have a circadian cycle of their own of 24 hours, wherein the two key factors that tell the brain what phase of cycle they are in, with two key factors, first being light and the second being food. So these are two key factors or two key triggers for this circadian cycle or rhythm to understand where it belongs. Now, let me bring your attention to a phrase, to a word that we all have heard about. Have we heard about a biological clock? A biological clock? Yes, thank you, Shikha. Thank you very much. Most of us have heard about it. Now, and we say that this biological clock that we have and this time frame that my body lives in, a great example of that being disturbed is jet lag. How many of us have experienced jet lag? When there is a time, shift, time frame shift, there's a lot of body changes that we experience. So Nandan says light and darkness. Yes, Nandan, that's an important word. Experience. Yes, Shikha. So jet lag is what? That we are taking our body in super fast speed and we are skipping a lot of circadian rhythms to take it to absolutely next circadian rhythm. So every hour that we skip or every hour that we hop in a flight, say if it is a 5-hour flight, we skip 5 days of circadian cycle. And therefore, it would take 5 days for the circadian cycle to come back. Now, how it impacts us? Very simple. If we have heard about, a component called melatonin. Melatonin in our body is that component that helps us to sleep well. People who have anxiety issues and because of which they are unable to sleep, they are, when we go for alternative solutions to, these lifestyle disorders, they are proposed those supplements which gives them melatonin. It relaxes them and takes them towards a sound sleep. Now, how it impacts us? Circadian rhythm is impacted because there is no time for us to get up. There is no time for us to sleep. And most importantly, there is no time for us to have our proper meals. How many of you agree on that? That the meal pattern also gets disrupted because of the busy schedules that we have. If it holds true for you, give me a yes in the chat box. If you believe, yes, thank you so much, Hina. Thank you, Vanita. Thank you, Poonam, Pooja. Thank you so much. And no matter how much we try, because the schedule is like that. Thank you so much, Chintan, Peterson. Thank you, Neha. Thanks, everyone. Thank you so much for your responses. So when the schedules are so busy, in spite of having the food by our side, at times we miss on taking it. And therefore, the circadian rhythm gets disrupted. What it leads to? Of course, it leads to lack of sleep. It leads to lack of concentration. It leads to a lot of anxiety, a lot of lifestyle-related disorders. And it is also important to understand for us that it's on a long-term basis. We talk about long-term, things get absolutely serious. Now, we can, of course, respect and get this circadian rhythm well within our control if we do certain changes into our lifestyle. If you're ready, yes, Nandan, you're right. People need to take antidepressant pills because the anxiety absolutely takes away their sleep. They're absolutely uncomfortable or absolutely high alert about small things. They get agitated on small things. So one little thing of lifestyle being upset because of busy schedules creates so many lifestyle related disorders. Now, let me also bring to you an important term here, because that is going to lead us to our next section, champions. So let me ask you, we have all heard about jet lags, but there's also something called social jet lag. And you know what it is? Anybody would like to explain? Nandan, we will definitely talk about it. The best way to avoid this, we'll talk about it for sure. So anybody who can share with us what is social jet lag? Let me give you an insight about what social jet lag is. I am right here at a place. I'm not traveling to any place. So there is no actual physical jet lag which is happening, which used to happen when we traveled for many hours overseas and all of those things. Now I'm right here. The Fridays, from Monday to Friday, I follow a fixed schedule. Absolutely, Mohit. That absolutely brings us to the social jet lag aspect, where Monday to Friday, there is a schedule that I follow. There's a time to wake up, get ready, come, and then, here and there time to, have some food and then come back home, sleep. But on Saturday, Sunday, or even for that matter, the Friday nights, that kind of schedule that we follow, it actually triggers the body to get confused. What is the circadian cycle? Where is the light? When is the light less? When is the light more? When is the person eating food? All of that gets disrupted, and the circadian rhythm gets disrupted, and we get the impact of that on our body. Very simply, feeling anxious, feeling uncomfortable, feeling lethargic, exhausted, and always, irritated, annoyed. Efficiency absolutely goes off the toss. And that is what is called social jet lag. Thank you, Vanita, for your input here. And that is what social jet lag is. Now, important question is, now we have understood that these lifestyle patterns that we follow, waking up, at some point, at least during the weekdays, we have certain point of time of waking up and going off to sleep because the next day the office is there. But weekends, absolutely no schedule being followed, no timeline being followed. That's first, of timelines not being followed. Second, because the timelines are not being followed, the food intake also is absolutely goes haywire. What we eat, how much do we eat, and when do we eat is absolutely uncertain at all points of time. How many of us have experienced that we take, we take time to watch movies maybe during the weekend or during weekday, if it's not a very busy week, and the movie goes up till 1 or 1:30 or 2, and in the middle we pause the movie right there on OTTs, and then we go and grab something to eat or drink in the middle of the night. How many of us have experienced that? Yes, Mohit, absolutely right, the stress eating. How many of us have experienced that? Yes, thank you, Hina. Thank you, Shikha. Thank you, Peterson. Thank you, Chintan. Thank you. So all of us at some point or the other, we've experienced this sometime on Saturday. Yes, Nandan. So what happens is we want to have fun. And of course, we deserve to have fun. We deserve to have that, that peace at that, at the end of the week when we have toiled like anything. But let's also understand how it is impacting our body on a long run, right? Mohit says emotional eating when in stress or being happy. Absolutely. And let's bring our attention to understand how this develops and what is the impact of that. And good, Mohit, that you have brought up this point of emotional eating, because now, champions, I am going to help you understand the most life-changing aspect about your relationship with food. All right. Shikha also says we keep munching throughout the day, weekend or no weekend, as you end up sitting in one place, being at home these days. True, champion, true, Shikha. I completely agree with that. But that somewhere is where we need to put our foot down and take some corrective actions. Because it's easy to surrender to situations. But I know you guys are champions, and you want to, and you will make changes into your lifestyle after attending today's session, and also by taking some strong decisions in your life, right? Poonam also said these days food is celebrated a lot, and whenever we want to feel good, we have such food. Absolutely right. That's a bang on point. Mohit said less carbs, more protein. Yes. So we can, of course, work on what combination of food to eat. But let me also re-emphasize on the fact, champions, in today's session, we will hardly talk about what to eat and how much to eat. There's a separate session for that. But in today's session, I am going to talk about when to eat, because that has equal importance to what to eat and how much to eat. So let's focus on when to eat, because when to eat has a major impact on how your food would be processed inside your body and how it is going to impact you. For that, let me first take you through an understanding of what kinds of hunger are there. And my request is please make a note of these in your notepad or whatever instruments you have to make a note of these things. The first kind of hunger that you can have is a hunger from thirst. It's a dehydration initiated hunger. And what happened was the natural food that is available in nature already has a water content. Right? So when we eat natural food, be it anything, vegetables, fruits, or anything, when we eat naturally grown, natural fruit, the water content inside it, somewhere it hydrates us. But when we go for snacking, when we go for food which has less content of actual water inside it, the ready water which is there while we eat it, we will surely get dehydrated. And when we get dehydrated, the mind perceives it, the brain perceives it as the, the scarcity of a component. And because we are so, we are so foodie, and and the snacking is so easy and quick and convenient, instead of drinking water at that time, we end up eating. And trust me, many of us, we behave in this way, and we end up turning our hunger from thirst, that dehydration initiated hunger, into and we solve it by eating something rather than drinking something. So next time you are hungry, ask yourself, and before eating something, drink a glass of water, maybe drink a glass of lukewarm water, but stop yourself from eating at every hunger pang. If that is a yes, sounds like something that we can try and then see the impact of it, give me a thumbs up or write yes in the chat box. Just simply write Y for yes in the chat box if you think you can try this. Thank you, Shikha. So that was about hunger from thirst. The second is hunger from variety. So once we have been eating same things or similar things over a long period of time, in spite of not being hungry, because we need variety, we start feeling hungry. Then again, the corrective action for this is to bring a variety in itself into the food, so that we don't overeat and we don't eat beyond a time limit. So that's hunger from variety. We want variety, and so hence we feel hungry. Thank you, Chintan, for your response. The next is empty stomach hunger. So it's important to examine the feeling. So empty stomach is like my stomach is empty. Whatever I have eaten is digested, I'm completely assimilated. All processes have been done, and I'm feeling very, light stomach. But it's a physical sensation. It's a nice feeling, not to feel heavy, right? So, but we realize, oh my God, I think my stomach is empty. I should put something inside it. That's when things go wrong. So don't eat at times when you feel empty stomach. All right. Empty stomach means your stomach is resting, which is a good thing, right? So what is the reason for overeat, Nandan? All of these things are the reason of overeating. Overeating is you are eating above what is required for you to eat, right? Why do you eat above your requirement? Because you're unable to differentiate between the actual requirement and the perceived requirement. These are all perceived hungers. So hunger from thirst, hunger from variety, but commonly for kids, yes, that's again the thing. Now, if I particularly talk about the last 1.5, 2 years that has happened, for kids, it has been extremely, extremely challenging for kids. Particularly kids have missed out on a very important aspect, which is physical workout, physical activities. They're sitting at home. Their mind is so, it's full of energy. It's like a, full bundle of energy. It has to go somewhere. So they have to be involved. They have to be engrossed. They have to be engaged. So the least, efforted, thing is to eat, right? So, and how can we avoid any tips? Surely, Nandan, we'll talk about it. If the time allows at the end of the session, I'm sure we will have an opportunity to have a Q&A. I'll definitely like to, I'll definitely try to put in my ideas there. So I have made a note of this. Thank you so much. So empty stomach hunger is the third kind of perceived hunger, or those situations where we end up eating, but we don't need to eat. So in those times when you feel, okay, it's a nice feeling, it's a nice sensation to have light stomach, have a glass of water with a lemon or something, avoid eating anything. The fourth is hunger from low blood sugar. And what happens is that it makes people pessimistic and given to the situation. But what is really important here, if the blood sugar is going low, it's important that we shift our metabolism to a more fat burning type and restrict our carbs in the diet. And why we do that is so that we can avoid eating when we don't need to eat. We must eat only when we need to eat, not when we want to eat. Let's make a clear demarcation there. The fifth one is emotional hunger, like we spoke about, and our friend spoke about the emotional eating, Mohit. Thank you so much for mentioning that. Emotional hunger is when food helps to manage an emotion. It could be a celebration in the form of food, Or it could be we're feeling depressed and the food. So there is something which is called, my consolation food. It could be anything, but not healthy. So work on creating a connection for that emotion through some other means. So celebration could be in many ways. We can dance together, we can have fun together, do some activities rather than just eating. Similarly, if I'm feeling depressed, I'm feeling dejected, I'm feeling disassociated, I'm feeling sad, I'm feeling angry, let's not associate hunger with those emotions. Do anything. You're feeling alone, you're feeling dejected, you're feeling, okay, I think a chocolate would make me feel better. Please, a phone call would also make you feel better. A little workout would also have a lot of, adrenaline rush in you, and you will feel better. Let's not get into this deception of emotional hunger, completely destroying our routine. So these were 5 kinds of hunger that we should be vigilant about, we should note about, and make our decisions of eating and not eating much more confident. And the final kind of hunger that we must cater to is called nutritional hunger, which talks about proper intake and a balanced intake of vitamins, minerals, fats, amino acid. Get enough of the good. Eat healthy, but at the right time. Wrong timing, because of these perceived hungers, creates a lot of hassle. So with this, how many of us are now ready to make some important non-invasive lifestyle changes in our life and recreate our relationship with food, with all of this? How many of us are ready? If you're ready, just write Y in the chat box, and I would know that you mean yes here. Thank you, Vanita. Thank you very much. Chintan, thank you very much. Mohit, thank you. Bhavna, thank you very much for your responses, everyone. Neha, thank you so much. All right. Poonam says, sounds good. Difficult to practice it day in and day out. I totally agree with that, Poonam. But it is important for us to at least give it a try, right? It's difficult, no doubt. It's difficult because it's not into our usual routine. It's difficult because it requires us to change certain things. It's difficult because it requires us to stop doing certain things and start doing certain things, right? But it is equally important for us to at least try. And when you try one thing at a time, see the impact of that, get the value out of it, and then try the next thing. Thank you, Nandan. Truth needs no proof. That is absolutely true. And these are some truths about our existing relationship with time, with our biological clock, with our rhythms, and with the food that we take. So all that needs a complete holistic view to see that my time management not being in place is affecting me in so many dimensions. And that actually is the big picture of time management. Time management not being in the good space, not being well managed is not only affecting my professional life or my personal life per se, or my social life. It is impacting me as an individual, my health, both physiological, behavior, and mental. And therefore, this needs some action, right? So therefore, it is important for us to make certain lifestyle changes that we are proposing right now. First and foremost being identify the hunger that you're feeling. Second is the fact that I want to share with you. Okay, Nandan says, can you give us some case studies if you have in real life? Well, I don't have them right now here with me, and because the duration is less, but I can of course share with you that there are a lot of people who have brought in changes. I know very close people to me who have brought in changes into their lifestyle, and they have created a healthy lifestyle for them by changing very small things in their life. So now that brings me, Nandan, thank you for bringing this out, because this I would definitely want to share here over this platform. What is really important for us to understand is that when we talk about our relationship with food and these lifestyle changes, what is important for us to understand is that our stomach needs at least 12 hours of fasting. And this is up to us. This is our realization and interpretation time, where we realize how much real time do we give our last meal of the day to the first meal of the other day. What is the duration generally? If it is less than 12 hours, there is overwork there is overtime that the stomach and the entire digestive system is doing. And that, of course, digestive system is not an exclusive system. It is connected with all the systems, and it impacts a lot of our body systems, a lot of other systems as well. So 12 hours of fasting is very important. Now, I can give my own real case study here, where when last year, if it is more than 12 hours, absolutely wonderful. Absolutely wonderful, Neha. Absolutely wonderful. Minimum is absolutely none. I will guide you on that. So I can give you, my piece of information on that absolutely well. What I have learned, what I have experienced, what I have gained from, I will definitely share with you all. And that is why I'm here, with all of us. So I can share my own real case study. I wouldn't go far to my friends and relatives who have tried these lifestyle changes, but yes, there was a time last year, when the traveling stopped, the kind of, schedule and routine that we used to have completely stopped, because there was a lot of traveling and all of those things. And that gave us time to be at home. And that gave us time to also assess the lifestyle that we are taking forward, how healthy it is. And that's when I took support from a coach to help me with my health issues. I had a couple of health issues, not very severe, but persistent since many, many years. And those small changes that my health coach proposed to me were not something which was out of the world, but it was very small changes, something like identifying your hunger first and foremost. Second, identifying your cravings. And third is I also identifying what you are addicted to. So I don't feel very proud when I share that. I feel that I was addicted to tea. Some of us don't realize that. How many of us really feel, and some of us are chai people, some of us are tea people, some of us are coffee people. How do we feel when we don't have that morning shot of coffee or tea? If we feel, there's something missing, if we feel that, the headache is going to start, if we feel that, I haven't woken up completely unless I have my coffee, that means we are addicted to those kind of food. And addiction of no category is healthy. So with these small changes being, interpreted, implemented, they change your entire inside out of the body along with your thought processes. Because then it also brings to you this approach of thinking, I would take in what is good, I would not take in what is not good for me. And that holds so true, not just for food, but for thoughts, for people, and for everything around us. So it has a holistic, it has a holistic impact on our entire being. And so, Nandan, if I can give you some case study, I can give you my case study where I was weighing more than 100 kgs, and I brought down my weight to 73 when no gym was possible because everything was under lockdown. I was able to bring it down to that level. I worked on working on my, and there was so much of, lightheadedness, so much of confidence that I would feel, because I would feel that now I own a body which is healthy. Now I own a body which has less of challenges. Now I can do what I want, and I don't have an excuse that, I can't bend my knee and I can't run that much. All those excuses just vanished. And in this year itself, in spite of the fact it was a terrible year for most of us when the second wave hit us, and my family also got impacted because of that, I had an infection, but because I was practicing all those things, I was able to come out of that situation in spite of being in a critical, and reaching a critical stage in a hospital. And I give all my thanks to my coach and to my choice of deciding to go with this kind of lifestyle. And because that lifestyle gave me the flavor, of what it feels like to be there, I have much more greater desire, much more intention, and much more will to do it all over again and move forward to the next level. And that is what I really wish for all of you champions. Okay, Nandan says, can I request if you could share your day-to-day routine from a reference from morning to night? This will be useful. Thank you, Shika. Thank you. I believe that all of us are inspirational. It's just about when we start sharing, there is so much to learn from everyone. Okay. Of course, Nandan, I would love to do that. If the time permits, I would definitely love to do that. And I would share. It's difficult to share the day-to-day routine, but I can definitely share, what major changes I made, which was before 2020, and what changes I have made in this 2020 and 2021. So I would love to share that. Thank you, Mohit. Thank you. And I'm loving your responses as well. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you, Poonam. Thank you very much. All right. So now, champions, let's summarize what we have done so far. What we have done so far is the fact that time management, if not done well, impacts our professional life, impacts our personal life, and it impacts our health in much more ways than we can even imagine. And therefore, it is important for us to now understand and see what we can do. Now, apart from these lifestyle changes that we can do, so first being, we can focus on identifying what kind of hunger am I feeling at that very moment. And the simplest thing to do is, whenever we feel hungry, for most of these, out of these 5 perceived hungers, the easiest way to identify them is to drink water. Drink water, lukewarm water, maybe add a little bit of, lemon into it, or a little bit of, apple cider vinegar, just a bit, just a few drops of it, just to make it a little flavorful rather than just bland water. Drink it, or if you like plain water, eat plain water, drink plain water, and then give it 10 minutes. If you still feel hungry, I would still say go for another glass of water. And if 10 minutes later, if you still feel hungry, then eat something healthy. So that's one change that we have to bring in. The second change is the time to eat. First and foremost, ensure that you have at least a 12-hour fasting, because this 12-hour is important for your body to do entire processing of what you have eaten during the entire day and get your machinery inside ready. No plant, no manufacturing plant or any machine can work 24/7 for n number of years. No, it needs some rest. And we have given very little rest to this delicate machine. And let me tell you, the digestive issues, or the issues related to stomach and the entire gastric entire gastric system, they are so common, so popular, and so annoying and so disturbing, and it is huge in number. And by choosing such small little changes into our life to be implemented, we can get rid of them. So identify your hunger, have at least a 12 hours of fasting to give your body rest, and also it helps to cleanse the body from inside. Absolute cleansing happens. Also, identify a timeline to have your meals at regular time, only with a margin of half an hour. Champions, it's easy for all of us to say we don't get time when we are busy. I'm sorry, we will not have any time when we are not here. Our existence is important, and an existence in a healthy way is the most important thing. The most important milestone that we can achieve is to have a healthy body and a healthy life. And that corresponds to showing and portraying that healthy lifestyle to the next gen as well. So it has twofold benefits. Please ensure that you have your meals within time, at least within a margin of half an hour of what you have. So what I mean here is, when you have your breakfast in the morning, say 7:30, 8, 9, whatever time, if it is 9, make it either 8:30 or 9. Not too much of change in the schedule. So try to have your breakfast between 8:30 to 9:30, anytime between that. Lunch accordingly and dinner accordingly. And try to finish off your dinner. At least, of course, you have to keep a 12-hour window before you go on to the next day's meal, the breakfast. Keep a 12-hour window, absolutely clean of eating anything, drinking anything, nothing at all. Avoid having even green teas within that time, because whatever goes inside needs processing. Give absolute rest to the system. Have only water. Now, what also it means is that before you go off to sleep, whatever your sleeping time is, the meal has to be finished at least 3 hours before that. Never ever go off to sleep with your food right there, which has been taken within less than 3 hours of your sleeping. All right. Neha, you have some point here. Doctors suggest not to fast for 14 hours. It affects our digestive system. Can you suggest few pointers on the same? Well, I would like to know who are those doctors who say such things, because it is not just what you do for fasting. And even if they say there are terms and conditions to it, Neha, to be very honest, if we fast for 14 hours, I have fasted for as good as 18 hours and I have felt absolutely brilliant. Because what happens is my digestive system takes rest, and from the carbs burning, it goes on to fat burning. That's when the shift happens. And if you do it on a regular basis, then the body also adjusts. First thing. Second is, it's not just how much fasting do you have, how much fasting do you do, how many hours, but it also means what do you do in the rest of the 12 hours? There are 6-7 hours that you sleep, and what do you do in that 6-7 hours that you're left with? How do you place your food? What all foods do you eat? How much gap do you keep between your last meal and the sleep? All that is absolutely an important factor to consider while you're going for fasting. So I would suggest there's a lot of healthy information available. If you could get a connect with any health coach, of course, go ahead for that. Otherwise, also just simply following what you know of as being healthy options in your lifestyle, of course, you can go for them, right? And 12 hours fasting, start with an 8-hour fasting, go to 10 hours, go to 11, go to 12, do it gradually and see how much your body is sustaining. What is important is for you to understand and listen to your body. That is the most important thing. If your body is responding in a positive way and not by the perceived motions, because it will say, oh, I'm feeling so tired. You know what? Feed me something. No, it's not feeling tired. It's just addicted to certain things and it wants to eat. The way we have, sugar addictions, we have sugar dependency. So we like to, the coffee's there. Let's have some cookies also. Why to have some cookies when you're having a coffee? Because the body wants to have, that kind of luxury, that kind of addiction that it has developed. Let's come out of those addictions to make a healthy body. And there's nothing better a gift that we can give to our family than our healthy selves. What do you think about that? Our family is in the best happy mode when we are healthy. And that goes for each one of us, right? So let's focus on making these small changes. They are difficult, I know, and they are new, so they are scary. We have a lot of apprehensions, and I totally understand. And it is natural, and it is absolutely wonderful to have such apprehensions because we are taking cautious steps. But let's not have these apprehensions stop our way going forward. All right. So if that is a yes, give me a yes in the chat box, and then we move forward. All right. Give me a yes in the chat box, and then we move forward. Thank you, Shikha. Thank you, Poonam. Thank you. All right. Thank you, Chintan. Peterson, thank you. Hina, thank you very much. All right. Now, with this, we have understood why it is important and what impacts ineffective time management can have. Let's move on to understand how can we manage time really well. And I'm going to take you forward to an important aspect of time management, which is my favorite. I have benefited tons of good things out of doing that. And I always recommend it to all my coaches. I recommend it to all my participants. I recommend it to everybody in the family. And I even make my daughter work on it. She's 4.5, but I'm teaching her how to do this and making good choices. How we wish that life was all about doing right thing and wrong thing and choosing between them. How I wish that life was so easy to find out what to do first and what to do second, because this is important and this is not. But life is about what is more important and what is less important, what is right and what is more right. And the choices are difficult. And therefore, it calls us to focus on the fact that it's important to prioritize things in life. And prioritization is that important aspect. And that smart choice that we can take in our life to make it either a winning or a losing game. And therefore, champions, I am taking you to an understanding of what prioritization is all about. If you're ready to move forward in understanding what prioritization is, how do I effectively achieve it, and how do I gain out of this prioritization process on an everyday basis, give me a thumbs up or write Y in the chat box for yes. All right, and then we move forward. Thank you, Hina, Peterson, thank you so much. Wonderful. Thank you, Chintan. All right, whether the rest of my friends, they're not responding at all. Pranav, Vanita is responding. Yes, thank you so much, Vanita. Vishal is there. Vasu, Aman, Nandan is responding. Thank you, Nandan. Amit is there. Mani is there. Durva Sulu is there. Sia, Deepak, Bhavna, Jagdish, Ayushi, Faisal, Sandeep. Come on, guys. We would love to see your responses. Thank you, sir. Oh, lovely, Sandeep. Lovely to see you here. Thank you. Your profile picture is amazing. You look absolutely stunning right there. And it would have been great if you had your camera on. Thank you, Ayushi. Thank you for sharing your response. Thank you, Bhavna. Thank you very much. So let's move forward and understand what is prioritization. Now, prioritization is about making not just list of things, but also scheduling them. What to do first, what to do next, when to schedule them. And prioritization is defined by two parameters. First being urgency and the second being importance. Now, who would like to share with us their idea? What is the difference between urgency and importance? Please share it over the chat box here. All right. What is the difference between urgency and importance? Urgency means now. Yes, Nandan, absolutely right. Very well said. And urgent means to be delivered at the earliest. Yes, absolutely. Okay. So what does important mean? And how is it different from urgency? All right. I'm looking forward to your responses here. Okay, importance means requirement. And then that's an important term here. So great. Thank you so much for sharing. Importance means requirement. All right. So now we have a good couple of responses. Thank you, Poonam, Nandan, for sharing with us. What is your understanding of urgency and importance? Urgency have deadlines. Yes, Hina, you're absolutely right. It has deadline. It has a timeline. But there's something which goes beyond the timeline. Yes, urgency means act now. So Hina, if you were to say deadline, yes, urgencies have deadline and the deadline is now. The deadline is right now. There's no deadline which is in future. It's right now. It has to be done immediately, right at this very moment. Right. So Chintan, thank you so much for pitching that in as well. So urgency, importance, it is all about when do we do it, right? It has to be done now. It has to be done right now, immediately, right? And that is what urgency is all about. And importance is about the impact that it creates, the necessity and the requirement that we have, right? So these are, they have similar meaning, but the differences in their understanding, differences in their meaning is important to be understood. Only then we will be able to actually identify the kind of task that we have over the entire day. So let me take you forward as to how do we do it? How do we do it? And how do we understand this entire categorization of tasks and then prioritizing them basis what urgency and importance they have through this matrix? It's a 2x2 matrix. I call it U and I matrix because it's an urgency and importance matrix, very simply. What happens here is that the top left quadrant is called the high urgency quadrant and the top right quadrant is called low urgency. This side, we talk about high importance and this side, we talk about low importance. Now, the first quadrant is the Q1 and that has a feature of having high urgency and high importance. I would like to know from you champions, what do you think are those tasks which are high urgency, high importance and high urgency? Any example of any task? High urgency and high importance. Any task, anything that happens during the day, which is high urgency and high importance? All right, I'm looking forward to your responses over chat box. Health, lifestyle, okay. Any accident in plant? Yes, Chintan. So accident, anything that happens on an, just by sudden, and it needs immediate attention, of course. In any accident in plant, yes. Nandan, health and lifestyle, it's high importance, but it's not high urgency. And we'll come to that, why it doesn't fall into Q1. But I'm thankful to you for bringing this point up because it becomes confusing. Where should we put it? Okay, power glitches, yes. It's something which is, it happens. It has its own sweet way of doing things in its own sweet way. Power glitches. So Q1 is a point where high urgency and high important tasks are there. It could be any accidents. It could be anything which requires immediate attention, anything which is related to fire. And therefore, this quadrant is called the quadrant of fire. The way fire needs immediate attention, it's important to attend to fire, and it's urgent to attend to fire. Similar way, Q1 has those tasks in our life which has got high urgency and high importance. And therefore, the more number of tasks we have in this category, the fire in our life is higher. The kind of chaos we will have in our life is higher. So the idea is, on an overall basis, Q1 tasks should be minimum in number. We have to reduce the tasks which are there in Q1. Now, how do we do that? Very simple. There are some tasks which by default come under the high urgency, high importance task in the Q1, like fire. See, if there's a fire, Fazil, I can't say, no, I'm busy right now. Come, Mr. Fire, come after 10 minutes. I'm busy right now. That doesn't happen. It has to be done right now. So by default, by nature, fire is in Q1. But let's also understand, Nandan, when you have mentioned health and lifestyle in Q1, it's not just because it's high important, but it's also because we focus on health and lifestyle when it becomes high urgency. So by default, focusing on health and our lifestyle is not high urgency task. It actually comes under the second category, which is Q2, low urgency but high importance. Lifestyle, lifestyle changes and focusing on learning and all of that. So that comes under Q2, where the urgency is low, but the importance is high. And that's called the quadrant of success. What happens in quadrant of fire is we act on it and we just do it. The quadrant of success is about planning, we scheduling, relationships. Yes, Poonam, we have timeline for that. We can invest. Yes, but without this, nothing will be secondary. Nandan, could you a little elaborate on that over the text? And I'll be happy to take it forward. So let's come back to Q2. Q2 is about low urgency. Urgency is less, but the importance is very high. But we have time. What it means is, if I take regular checkups, if I do lifestyle changes, we do lifestyle changes and lifestyle, checks on a regular basis, then yes. So I got your point, Nandan. You say, well, without health, what's next? No, health is the first thing. I'll tell you what it happens is. Now, let me ask all of you, you can give me a response or not, but I want you to give it a little thought here. When was the last time we took a health checkup for ourselves? A complete health checkup, a body checkup. When was the last time when we did it before this time? Is it regular? If it's regular, we do it every 6 months. Yes. So when we do it every 6 months, Nandan, are we placing it into Q1 or are we placing it into Q2? We're actually placing it into Q2 because it's not urgent. We plan it. Okay, I've taken it in September. So 9 months later, I'll do it in March. It falls in Q1 because it becomes high urgency. I have to leave everything aside and attend to it. That is what urgency means. And we don't do it for every 6 months, do we function in that way that we leave everything aside and we just immediately go for that, or we plan for that? How do we do that, Nandan? We plan for it, for our self-development, for anything, for utility bill payments. It is mandatory. Of course, it is important. Importance is not going down. Q1 is also high important and Q2 is also high important. But Q2 takes into consideration time. We can plan for it, prepare for it, and then move forward, right? It's mandatory. Both Q1 and Q2, both are mandatory. But putting health into Q1 is like putting everything on fire. Okay, let's move on to the third one, which is again very interesting. We'll quickly go through it. Q3 is very, very surprising and very, very confusing thing. It has got high urgency, but low importance. Now, let me ask you this question. Something which is low important, how can it become high urgent? Something which doesn't have importance, how can it become high urgency for me? It's because, champions, because the tasks which come under Q3 are deceptive tasks. This quadrant is called the Quadrant of Deception. What means here is that the tasks are not really important, but they come with so much of urgency that we feel like that it is important and we end up doing them. So these are those tasks where, so why do we end up doing it? Very simple. Say for instance, say Chetan comes to me and he says, Yasha, you know what, this is a report to be made and I really need your help in this. Now that report, is not important for me. But Faisal is important for me. Chetan is important for me. Yes, they are important for me. And for them, that task is important. Hence, indirectly, that task becomes important for me. It has no direct importance for me, but it becomes urgent for me to act on them. So deception is that quadrant which talks about fulfilling other people's promises or fulfilling other people's wills and desires, where you do not have any productive thing coming out of it, but you're doing it because that person is important. And let me tell you, because it has a signal of high urgency, it actually deceives us and we treat it as belonging to Q1 and we actually act on it. Whereas the right way to manage tasks, yes, Poonam, delegation is one way to do it. And therefore we say the Q3 tasks are managed. You can delegate them, or you can completely deny them, saying no, or you can ask for some time. It's all about managing those tasks. Either give it to somebody else, either do it by yourself or give it to somebody else, or don't do it at all, or ask for some time. So it's about delegation, managing it, learning to say no and all of that. But what is more important, what comes before that is identifying that this task coming to us is falling in Q3 and not in Q1. Right. Now, and the fourth one is, of course, we all know it's low urgency, low importance. These are tasks which are absolute time wasters and we should never, never give any time to them. These are absolutely failure related tasks and we must avoid them. What it means is getting involved into non-productive, unproductive things and anything that focuses on and treats to that. So this was about matrix. How do I use it? Very simple. When I do my to-do list, I have a to-do list here. I have a to-do list item 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I do a check, a you and I check on that. Make a table like this whenever we make a to-do list, right? If it is urgent, put a tick. Not urgent, put a cross. Similarly for important, and identify which quadrant it belongs to. If it belongs to quadrant 1, just do it. And then the example for Q4 is being involved in social media browsing in your productive time. Socializing for no specific agenda, maybe with colleagues or anyone around, talking about things that don't create any fruitful result for us during that time, they all fall under Q4. Exactly. And that is the trap. And that is the trap that we have to avoid. That is the trap that eats away most of our. So it's a time sucker, actually. The Q4 is a time sucker. We don't realize. Let's take a break and let's see one WhatsApp message. And then we don't know how many hours we go. From WhatsApp, we go to Insta. From Insta, we go to Twitter. From Twitter, we go to Facebook. And then, hours and hours are lost. So it's actually a time sucker. But it leads to failures in terms of not having, our effective time management in place. So similarly, just to summarize you and I matrix, when you've identified the quadrant, then Q1, we just do it, no negotiation and, no asking for deadlines. Q2, plan and schedule and involve everybody who's involved, who's important to be part of that. Q3, you must avoid, learn to manage, either delegate or do it and ask for some time, or just say no. If you're not able to do it, just say no. And Q4 is all about avoiding it completely. Avoiding it completely. Thank you, Poonam, for your suggestion. Social media, of course, falls under Q4. So this is what our you and I matrix looks like, which is fire. We act on it. When we have success, we plan it. Then we have deception. We manage it. And then we have failure, which we avoid. All right. And with this, champions, I would like to know from you, do you think if we are able to implement and we take efforts to implement, this you and I matrix into our everyday to-do list and then implementing and, prioritizing our task basis, this identification and this categorization, do you think our task will be much more segregated? We'll get rid of many of those tasks which don't yield any result to us, and we'll be able to move forward with much more confidence, much more time in hand, rather than just losing that time in these unnecessary tasks. Thank you, Nandan. Thank you very much. Thank you. So if you feel that yes, definitely that is something that we can achieve out of this understanding, give me a yes. Thank you, Neha. Thank you very much. All right, great. Thank you, Peterson. Wonderful. So let's do a quick summary of what this session was all about, and then we wrap up quickly. This session was definitely about understanding the impact of effective time management on holistic life, not just confining our time management understanding to professional life, but taking it beyond professional life to personal as well as our health issues as well. Ideas to bring lifestyle changes for enhancing life quality. We spoke about certain ideas that we can implement, increase and enhance our life quality, and also uncovering the process of effective prioritization and implementation through UNI matrix. And with this, champions, I thank each and every one of you for being a part of today's session, being so responsive, being so contributing, and your contribution in ideas and insights have really helped us make this session so interactive, and absolutely shaped up really well. I'm really, really thankful to Peterson and the entire team at HR Association of India for giving me this platform and letting me share my ideas, views, opinions, and experiences here over this platform. And if you wish to go on more such learning joyrides with us, I'll be very happy to connect with you. My name is Yasha Watts from Star Consulting Global, and I'll be very happy to connect back with you. Over to you, Peterson. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Yasha. Before we take up any questions, we'll be initiating a poll. We'll request all our participants to kindly share their feedback on our today's session.
Sure.
And while you are doing so, we'll request all our participants to post your questions in the chat window. Once again, I thank all our participants for joining our session today. We have received a lot of inquiry about the e-certificate offered by HRAI. You can claim your e-certificate by sharing your details. When I say details, that is your name and the session you have attended in the email ID to the email ID provided in the chat window. So kindly share your details on that email ID. Kindly do so by end of this month so that we can have the e-certificate sent to you. So we should keeping the time constraints in mind, we'll take up one questions and the rest I'll share it with you in email so that we can update our participants on responses to the same. Okay. Now we have one question out here. What are the pros and cons of intermittent fasting? Is it advisable?
Okay, so intermittent fasting, when we talk about, the pros are, of course, a number of pros there. First being that we are giving rest to our body, and the body machinery needs rest. The way even the brain takes a little rest while we are asleep, the entire body also takes a little rest while we are asleep. The digestive system still works. And if we overload it continuously just by feeling a little hungry and those perceived hungers, and if we keep feeding that machinery with more and more load, it becomes tired. And it might age before we actually age up. So the pros are that we give time for that machinery to relax, champions. What it also helps is to cleanse the entire process, let the entire process get processed, and then the cleansing also happens inside the body. What could be the negative aspects of intermittent fasting? You could feel weak. You could have some low BP, low sugar, incidents. You can have that in the initial part, in the initial part. And you could also feel a little dizzy because the carbs is not going inside, the ready energy part is not going inside. These are some of the instant, negative or so-called unpleasant experience that you can have from intermittent fasting. So far, I have not uncovered or I have not come across any long-term impacts, negative impacts or unpleasant impacts of intermittent fasting. It's good for health. But similar to, say running and exercising is so good for us. It's not just because we keep fit, but it's also because there's a lot of happy hormones of oxytocin, serotonin, all of that releases, makes us very, very happy. But what happens when you do a marathon run without practicing at all? So if you do it for 14 kilometers straight, you'll probably not be able to finish 14 kilometers. But if you do it, 14 meters, day one, and then you keep on increasing day by day, increasing your stamina, you give your body a little time to go through that change seamlessly. Then there are no hiccups, there are no roadblocks, no bottlenecks, and the intermittent fasting really, really helps. It helps you to become clear-headed here as well, because there is less of toxin here.
Absolutely. Beautifully answered. And it was a power-packed session, Ms. Resha. Thank you so much. Few takeaways that I would like to highlight out here is the effective time management, the ideas for lifestyle changes, balancing the time out for everything that you have in your hand, the 4 quadrants that you have shared with us, and yes, not to forget, drink a lot of water. Lots of learnings and takeaway. Thank you so much. It has been a pleasure being with you today. I'm sure our participants have had a lot to learn and take away from this session. Before we conclude with our today's session, we would also want to thank the association members, that is Geisha, NASCOM, COE, LinkedIn Local, CalGrow, TLE, WICCI, and GlipTalk for supporting these HRAI events. To know more about these associations, I request you to kindly visit the link provided in the chat window. Thank you once again, dear speaker, and our participants for joining us today. Do join us for our next masterclass tomorrow on the topic Emotional Intelligence, a session by Ms. Gauri Das, Vice President and Head HR, IFFS Advisory, on the 21st of September 2021. I request you to kindly register for the event at the link mentioned in the chat window, and also to join the Dialogue 2021 WhatsApp chat group to the invite link shared in the chat window. That's it from us today. See you soon. Stay safe, take care, and bye for now. Keep learning.
Thank you. Bye-bye, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Shyam. We can hereby conclude with our today's session.